You might have heard about an Achilles heel. But have you heard of the mighty hero himself? He was just a mortal who fought in the Battle of Troy and took a dive into the river of death. This is the story of a guy who got into all kinds of trouble and his immortal legacy. So where did it all start, and why do we learn about him to this day? This is the epic tale of Achilles, the legendary hero born to Peleus and Thetis. Peleus was a mortal king with a lineage tied to Zeus himself, and Thetis was a sea goddess among the illustrious Nereids. But there was more in their lineage that they didn't know yet. Now, Zeus, the all-knowing ruler of Olympus, heard whispers of a prophecy foretelling that any child born to Thetis would surpass even his power. That's why Zeus orchestrated Thetis' marriage to Peleus, a mortal man. He probably thought this marriage would prevent her giving birth to a hero who'd challenge him. But it was all in vain. Why? Now, we'll get to that in a minute. For accuracy's sake, some versions say Thetis rejected Zeus, so he settled for marrying her off to a mortal. Ouch! But why was this marriage important? It actually sparked the infamous Trojan War, sealing Achilles' fate. Let's rewind to the wedding. All gods were invited except Eris, the goddess of strife, and she did not take it well. She was in full Disney's Maleficent mode. She crashed the party with a golden apple, sparking chaos. 3 goddesses claimed it, each declaring herself the fairest. Eris was chosen to judge. Now, here's where things got interesting. Each goddess tried to sway Paris with tempting offers. Hera promised him a kingdom beyond compare. Athena pledged him victory in war. And Aphrodite, well, she dangled the ultimate prize, the most beautiful woman in the world. And guess what? Paris fell for Aphrodite's irresistible offer, hook, line, and sinker. Without a second thought, he set sail for Sparta, where he swept Helen, the most beautiful woman, off her feet. Now, whether Helen went willingly or not depends on which version of the story you believe. And just like that, the scene was set for the legendary Trojan War. Menelaus, Helen's husband, and Agamemnon wasted no time. They rallied Greece's armies, assembling a mighty fleet of 1,000 ships to besiege Troy's walls. But wait, that still doesn't explain Achilles' immortality. How did this guy go from being a mortal to turning into an immortal? 2 versions tell this story. In the first, little Achilles was placed atop blazing embers at night and anointed with ambrosia by day. But Peleus, Achilles' father, got jittery about his son turning into a crispy critter, so he intervened just in time, leaving Achilles mortal. In another version, Achilles' mother, Thetis, took matters into her own hands. What did she do? Well, she held her precious baby by his heels and plunged him into the chilling waters of the legendary river Styx, a journey into the underworld. Now, that's some serious dedication to immortality. But despite the successful dip, Achilles ended up with a major Achilles heel, or should I say, heels. Yep, 2 vulnerable spots in an otherwise invincible body. Now, let's dive into the world of mentors. Achilles didn't just have any old mentors guiding him, he had the absolute best of the best. Under the tutelage of Chiron, the extraordinary centaur, Achilles received a top-notch education. Chiron wasn't just your average tutor. He was a master healer, a skilled prophet, and an expert in music and gymnastics. And if that wasn't impressive enough, rumor has it that even the divine twins themselves, Apollo and Artemis, took turns imparting their wisdom to Achilles. But here's where things got tough. As Greece stood on the brink of war, every warrior was needed on the front lines. Yet two notable heroes were conspicuously absent: Odysseus and Achilles. So what about two heroes at the crossroads of destiny? What were they up to? Well, first, we had Odysseus, the mastermind behind cunning schemes. Snug in the comfort of his bountiful fields and loving family, Odysseus couldn't quite see the allure of abandoning it all for one woman's unfaithfulness. But when duty called, he didn't flinch. He hatched a clever plan, pretending to be mad to dodge the call to arms. Then we had Achilles, the legendary warrior, with a shadow of fate looming over him. Aware of the grim prophecy that awaited him in Troy, Achilles went for a more discreet approach. Guided by his mother's wisdom, he slipped into the court of Lycomedes, disguised amidst the womenfolk. But just as Achilles embraced his disguise, in came Odysseus, already entrenched in the war effort. Disguised as a humble peddler, Odysseus showed his wares, hoping to sway the court's interest. Even shrouded in disguise, Achilles couldn't hide his true essence from the astute Odysseus. But these two heroes had no idea that their fates were entwined. They couldn't escape the looming shadow of war. Despite their best attempts to sidestep the inevitable conflict, they found themselves drawn into the chaos of battle. The battlefield. A canvas painted with the blood and sweat of warriors, where victories are fleeting and defeats bitter. In the heart of this turmoil stood Achilles, a titan among men, his valor unmatched and his sword a blazing beacon of destruction. With each swing, he carved through enemy ranks like a force of nature, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. As Achilles and Patroclus made their way through the treacherous landscapes of war, they arrived at the like and subscribe button, just waiting to be clicked. Now, it was time for Achilles to face his fate. The air was thick with tension, as both sides steeled themselves for the final clash. But amidst the chaos of battle, a feud erupted between two titans of the Greek army, Achilles and Agamemnon. Their quarrel? A coveted prize, a priest of Apollo seized by Agamemnon as his own. In response, Apollo unleashed a devastating plague upon the Greek forces, a divine retribution for their leader's arrogance. With disaster looming, Achilles steps forward, his voice a clarion call above the fray. Gathering the other chiefs, he demands the return of the priest to appease the gods' wrath. Reluctantly, Agamemnon relents, but not without a spiteful act of revenge, seizing Achilles' own prize, the maiden Briseis. Agamemnon struck at Achilles' pride, igniting a firestorm within the warrior's soul. Consumed by a sense of betrayal, Achilles made a fateful choice to withdraw from the war, leaving his comrades to fend for themselves. Shockwaves erupted through the Greek camp when Achilles abandoned the fight. With each passing day, Trojan victories mounted, a testament to Achilles' absence on the battlefield. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a tragedy that would reverberate through the ages. How would Achilles' decision shape the course of the war's final chapter? Let's delve into the epic's climax. The Greeks, cornered within their camp, faced their darkest hour. When Patroclus defied Achilles' orders and entered battle, the stakes skyrocketed. Tragically, Patroclus fell, igniting Achilles' wrath. With divine armor, he became an unstoppable force, seeking vengeance against Hector. After desecrating Hector's body, Achilles faced the consequences. Guided by Hermes, King Priam confronted him, bringing a moment of sorrow. Despite Achilles' skill, fate intervened. Struck by Paris's arrow, guided by Apollo, Achilles met his end. And so the mighty warrior fell, his fate intertwined with that of his beloved Patroclus. But if you want to check out more about some legendary Greek heroes, click on this next video.